Yes. What's up, everybody? We're running a couple minutes late here, but that's okay. Welcome to CRL Chart Quest Live. I'm Spencer Israel. He is JC Perez. And we have charts. Well, actually, yeah, we have the charts. You have the request. So let's roll. If you don't know the drill by now, you have a question, drop your ticker on the chat. If you want to cut the line, email us questions at stockmarketmedia.com. We'll start with Pinduoduo. This was a question from Andrew. He asked about a few, and this is the one that I wanted to highlight. So PDD. Oh, it's already marked up.
How about that, huh?
How about that?
Listen, Spencer Israel, how big of a market cap is Pinduoduo? Don't look.
Don't look. Okay, fine. I was going to say smaller than it used to be. I'm going to say 2 billion.
100 billion.
What?
100 billion.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yep.
What do I know? Wait, just a little
that's why I asked the question, because some people might not know just how big of a company this is.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't think you did, right? That's the little trivia. But listen, what do you have here? You got an uptrend after COVID. A lot of these internet retailers did, of course, as we are well aware, put in a high, put in a higher high, rolled over, retested support, lower high, classic head and shoulders top. You got your break, your sell-off, and then starts the bottoming process again. Very similarly, lower low, lower low, higher low, kind of a head and shoulders bottom sort of situation, and then the breakout. Now, what we've seen throughout the spring, however, is kind of like a dip below that. I've seen this a lot over my career. Some might call it a bear trap. Some might call it a bull hook, where it kind of, you get a little whipsaw back below that, and then we recover back, in this case, around $72. So if we're above 72, right now we're at 75. I like buying this dip. I think we're going to get back up over 100 on this one. It's got a lot more upside from there, but 72 gets you done. If we're below 72, that puts us back below these lows down here. We don't want to be long below that. 70, 72, that's really the area.
Okay, this is one we got a question. This came last week from Feza. I know it's too small for you, but the ticker is CERS. It's Ceres Corporation, CERS. Too small for you, but a chart is a chart. And Feza asked for your take on this.
Well, it's in the medical device space, which I find really, really interesting. Let me see if I could punch up the... Here it is. So here we're looking at, in black, we're looking at technology, which currently is making new all-time highs every day, or at least over the last couple of days. And here's medical devices, which medical devices, although it's in healthcare, let's be serious, these are robots performing heart surgery, right? Let's just say it's technology, right? You call it what you want, it's tech. And there's a reason why medical equipment stocks trade with technology stocks, but we've seen quite the divergence here, right? So, I'm in the camp that healthcare in general is holding in there nicely. Medical devices looking to make a move to catch up. So we can leave it as is, that, even though this is too small of a company for me to dive into, it's a $2 stock, 400 million, it's too small for me. But just think about medical equipment in general. When you're looking through markets, this is an interesting one. And if you want one that I think is really interesting, it's ISRG. This is Intuitive Surgical, much bigger than this one that you mentioned, but nevertheless showing a ton of relative strength. Strength here. And if we're able to finally break out above these highs, right, I think you got a lot of upside. Still has some work to do. Ton of relative strength, because medical equipment's not making new all-time highs, but this one is. So it stands out.
So you have no take on the servers, right? CRS.
I mean, I probably do, but it's we deal with real companies here.
Yeah, real company.
All right, if you're not a $1 billion stock, I can't take you seriously. Like we have Apple's $3 trillion. So if you're not even $1 billion, like you are below my line. You are beneath me.
Below my line. All right. This is a funny one here. Jonathan brought this up. I have to admit, I had never heard of this before. The U.S. Vegan Climate ETF. The ticker is VEGN. JC, you will never guess what the top holding in this fund is. You will never guess it. Actually,
Nvidia.
What the hell?
This is a big Republican ETF, isn't it? Right?
How'd you know that?
I have it right in front of me. I do this for a living, Spencer.
Nvidia, Tesla, Broadcom, United Health, and Visa are the top 5.
Well,
holdings.
There's a reason why it doesn't have any assets under management and it doesn't trade. Like, it doesn't matter. This thing might as well not exist. Nobody's in it. Nobody owns it. Nobody cares.
Wait, no, how did you know that? No, you looked it up.
I have it in front of me. Of course I looked at. I mean, I don't have to look it up. It's literally just right there.
Fine, whatever. All right.
Sorry, did I steal your thunder?
You did. I was already be like, no, you're gonna guess Beyond Meat. No.
Beyond Meat. Yeah. Some solar stock.
This is not a Republican. This is an ESG fund. Allegedly.
No, I know. I was being facetious.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Vegan climate. I mean, this sounds as it's the opposite of.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I never heard of this before. Okay. Anyway, so
you never will again. So it's fine.
Never will again. All right. Whatever. Moving on here. Wavy asking about HL. Let's get that up. Wavy McFly.
All right. So here we're looking at a tiny little mining company. But mining companies in general are tiny because they've never these things just don't appreciate in value. Gold mining stocks. Anybody who's been sitting around owning these gold mining stocks for a long time learned out the hard way that these things don't go up, right? Here we're looking at a long-term chart of Hecla Mining. Throw this up here. HL. This was a darling for me back when I used to be a gold bug. This is when I used to be a gold bug, guys. By the way, in case you didn't know that I used to be a gold bug. Fun fact, I used to be a gold bug. And I was a gold bug throughout this whole period here. So I had some good times with Hecla. But now you zoom out, like Hecla's done nothing since I was a gold bug. That's just how terrible this industry has really been. But when you really zoom out, you pinch the y-axis a little so you can really get a good idea as to what this thing's doing, or in this case, not doing. Spencer, don't forget to pinch the y-axis. I feel like, too many people forget. Pinch your y-axis, guys. And then what do we got here? We got just a whole large nothing burger, right? So bigger picture, this thing's in the middle of a massive range. We can clone this and look in a little bit deeper. Let's see. So what are we seeing here? You got a whole lot of nothing, right? Take this out. You got a big nothing, right? You got a big nothing. You got a nice base, right? You got a nice base potentially developing here. You got your downtrend line situation. It's kind of messy. It's not even that clean. It's listen,
right, not much.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's in the range. It's doing its thing. It looks like it's a bottoming process. When you look at gold in general, if gold's going, this Hecla's going to go. It's kind of like a beta play on gold. Gold just had another failed breakout. It doesn't want to go. When gold's going, like Hecla's probably going to do pretty well. Like that's how I look at it. And I got one more for you on that note. If you look at GDX is really holding that 30 level. And that's a big one. GDX is holding that 30 level, and it's not terrible for gold, right? There's a lot of memory around this level, a lot of former resistance, right? And you had we were looking at Pinduoduo, how you kind of had that bear trap, that bull hook that I was talking about. This is sort of a similar circumstance in gold miners in general. This is GDX. So if GDX is holding 30, I think a long gold position, particularly with a weaker dollar, I think makes sense. Just understand that if gold mining stocks have proven anything over the last month or so, or even all year, is that even a weaker dollar is just not getting gold higher. Gold is more interested in lower real yields. So rising real yields has just been a real headwind for gold, even with a weaker dollar. So it's not the weaker dollar that gold's interested in. It's lower real yields. If you're interested in buying gold miners, although I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a weaker dollar is not going to help, I certainly don't think it'll hurt, but it's really the real yields. So inflation adjusted, right?
All right, let's do a few more. Keisha asked about Mosaic, the fertilizer company.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You don't sound too excited about it. Why you say it like that?
No, I don't have any opinions. It's fertilizer.
This used to be a darling, man. I remember 2006, 2007, like it was yesterday, and even continued into 2008. Financials were all falling apart, right? Home builders were falling apart. These agriculture stocks, these fertilizer companies, Potash, Mosaic, Monsanto, were absolutely ripping. I mean, just look at these things. These were the AI stocks of their day. These were the semiconductors of their day. I'll never forget it. It was crazy. And then they came tumbling down, of course, and look how long it's taken for them to recover. They're still nowhere near those former highs. So when you zoom in short term, however, that's a little bit of a little history lesson for you young lads out there. Just showing my age a little bit. You guys are like, fertilizer stocks used to go up. It's like, yeah, bro. They were, the pot stocks of their day. They were the AI stocks, they were the SPACs of their day. Like every group gets their moment. That was theirs. And when they get their moment, it takes a long, long time for them to repair all the damage that is then done. And here we are still repairing that damage. So I think that if you start, holding 40 and you're above 40 in Mosaic, it's probably not terrible. Probably not terrible, right? Is it the best trade? No, but I'm not going to fight you on it. Here's what that looks like.
Look, it's fertilizer at the end of the day, right? That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about.
Is that not sexy enough for you?
Yeah, no. I mean, not to say fertilizer can't be a good business. I don't know anything.
Make fertilizer stocks sexy again. $12 billion fertilizer stock out of Tampa, Florida. All right, Tampa. Who knew?
I definitely feel like we get asked about like CCJ like at least once a week on one of our shows. It just seems like it's a thing that people always. I mean, maybe the fact that it's at its highs, right? Or not all-time highs, but like 10-year highs. Yep. Maybe that's why we get asked about it a lot. But I don't know. Uranium. Daniel's asking about this right now.
Yep. So this one here from Canada, Cameco CCJ, $14 billion stock out of Saskatchewan, Canada, Saskatoon, home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, JC's favorite CFL team.
His favorite,
right? Spencer hates the Roughriders. He's like
a huge rivalry with the Roughriders.
Hates the Roughriders. Listen, I think the trade's very simple. Right here, right now, 32.5. If we're above that, you own it. It's that simple. Target up near 55. You're looking at a 60% return. If we're below 32, you can't touch it. It's back into this range. We don't like owning things that are in ranges. That just you're begging for headaches. You're begging for aggravation. I got enough headaches and aggravation. I don't need another one. Certainly not in Cameco. And I'll give you guys a little story quickly. This was the worst trade of my entire career. Here we are now.
Yep.
This was in 2010. I was on the train making new 52-week highs, buy uranium. This was going to make me a millionaire at the time. I didn't have much money, but this was the trade. And right here was Fukushima. This was when there was a tsunami in Japan, and the Fukushima nuclear power plant started to melt. And I thought that, it was just news. It's coming back, right? This was right around here. And here we are 12 years later, and it still hasn't come back. So let that be a good lesson to all of you. It was certainly a good lesson for me. When you're wrong, you're wrong. Get out. Don't sit around waiting for the tsunami to play, right? Like the tsunami ends up being kind of like a metaphor for what is happening in your trade. That you are wrong, whether it's a real tsunami or not. In my case, it was actually a tsunami. that took all my money, but for all intents and purposes, think of it like that. So if we're not above 32.5, leave it alone.
Okay, a bunch of tickets flying in. Oh yeah, there's one more from email that we got, and that was, well, actually there's a couple more, but they were smaller names. EC, saw who asked about EC, Eco Petrol. I don't know how large this company is. I have to confess. Let's see.
It is a big company. This is a $20 billion stock out of Colombia. So this is Colombian Energy. For those of you who don't have enough Colombian energy exposure,
count me in that group.
This will get you done. You know, when you look at the underperformance out of energy in general, this one's just way worse, right? Maybe because it's Colombian. I don't know, because Latin America has just been a big underperformer. So you're not even getting that American exposure. So this thing's just a real mess. You know, it's hard to find a worse looking chart, to be perfectly honest, right? This thing's nasty. I mean, I really don't know what to look at here. You know, maybe we get going. It's not a bet I would make.
Jeff asked about Arlo, ARLO. This is a consumer electronics company. They make like baby monitors and security cameras and security lights and a whole bunch of other of those types of video monitoring products. $1 billion.
So here we're looking at Arlo. $1 billion. This is an industrial stock.
Well, yeah, like
building products and equipment.
Yeah, it's like security cameras and that thing.
Okay, interesting. You know, I mean, listen, here's you're looking at the resistance from up here, right? Which we're essentially retesting. These were the 2022 highs. Stock's at 11.25 right now, right? So here, by the way, Spencer, you know how we always talk about that IPO price, right? You know, this to me is the initial price up in the low 20s. So if we're able to exceed these levels, you know, perhaps that's the trade. So you're looking at probably, I mean, realistically, you're looking at $12 for me to get interested in it. You got to clear that. So far, it hasn't just yet, but if we clear that, I think it gets you back to the IPO price. You got a nice base, probably gets you back here, right? And you're probably looking at about $23, something like that, right?
Yeah, the all-time high is 20. I don't have my thing open on my charts.
About 23 and change.
About 24. All right. Good question here from Dan. It was the first question in the chat today. What helps you decide where to draw your fibs? You use the August pivot highs or the 2021 highs or something else?
You take the highs to the lows, right? So here we're looking at the retracement. So we're going to take the low here to the high, right? So you got the high after the IPO price, right? So you got the high up here in the IPO price down to the low, right? So then here's your 38.2% retracement of that.
There we go. The high to the low, whatever range you're looking at.
Yeah, see? So in this case, it's really been coming into play. A couple of failed false starts, and now it's getting going. So that 61.8% retracement is about 15.25 or so. So, you know, you got your target up here near 23, 24, but you could probably see some trouble at that 15.25 level, if I had to guess, if I were a betting man. So if I'm in this trade, you know, I'm going to be very aware of this 15.27 level. So this would be 38.2% retracement of the entire decline. This would be 61.8% retracement of the entire decline. This would be a 100% retracement. And then if you want to get gangster and go beyond that level and see where it can extend to, this would be the 161.8% extension of the entire decline, right? How'd I do?
That was a good answer. That was a good answer. Okay, Eric Gonzalez asked about Coupang CPNG. This thing IPO'd at like the frothiest time. The IPO price was $35, but this thing didn't open for trading. It opened for trading at $63. So it IPO'd at 35 and it opened at 63. Just to give you an idea of how frothy things were, and then it went to 69 that day. So anyway, we're a long ways off from that, but I thought that'd be interesting context.
So this is a Seattle grocery store.
CPNG? No.
CPNG, Seattle grocery store. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the fish store. It's like a fish store and restaurant. Yeah. Fish store and restaurant. Yeah, for sure. Out of Seattle. Right now at $18, as you said, IPO'd, had a heck of a run, and then just completely collapsed from there.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Oh wait, it's Oh, but you know what it is they do more than that. That's what it is. It's they also have like they do electronics.
They have beauty products and all sporting goods.
Right,
they do a whole bunch of stuff.
All right, yeah, I was gonna say fish. No, but they're like a.
Yeah, the company also offers Rocket Fresh, which offers fresh groceries in Taiwan, Singapore, Japan, right?
Right.
What do you think they're eating out there? You think they're eating vegan food? Come on.
All right. It's a Korean e-commerce. Korean e-commerce. That's the bottom line. Korean e-commerce, I think. And
Korean e-commerce
slash grocery, apparently. Okay. Didn't know that.
Listen, nice little base. Nice little base. So this is a $32 billion company. So it's not like, just because Spencer and I never heard of this company doesn't mean it's not big. $32 billion is it's pretty solid. It's a big cap stock, but it's still it's got work to do, right? It's got work to do. Like Spencer said, it IPO'd at the worst possible time for secondary investors, the best time for private investors as Unite Cell. So nice sale to the VCs there. For the bag holders, they got smoked on this one. And then with, every smoking job, you need time for repair, and it's working on that. So I think it needs some more time.
All right. I'm going to the chat now. Someone noting that Sleep Number is ripping. Joel's, is that true? Yeah, SNBR, right? Isn't that Sleep Number?
SNBR. Yep.
Wait, am I right? Is that Sleep Number?
Yup.
Oh
So goodness. Sleep Numbers, so do they make mattresses or something?
Yeah. You patronage them one time in your life when you buy a new bed. I don't know if I used that word correctly, but anyway, yes, it is ripping. Look at that. 17 to 36 in the span of 2 months. Good for them, I guess.
It's been around for a long time. Look at that.
Yeah, well.
Here we're looking at SNBR, slightly smaller than I'm comfortable with. But that's only because the stock has gotten smoked. We're looking at consumer cyclical, 800 million. And this thing goes all the way back to the late 90s, and you can kind of really take it all the way back. Spencer, I mean, not to keep beating a dead horse, but this IPO high literally is turning into support 25 years later. So there's just so much market memory at these levels. You could just go way back. This is the IPO price. That was resistance again. On the next go around, you had a little bit of nice little oopsies right there. Oops. And then all of that turned into support, as you could tell. And it's turning into support now again. Right? Yeah. This was doing this all these years, and now look at that. Once again,
right. Kablam. I mean, credit to Joel. He said he called. You're right. Joel did call this out a few weeks ago. I remember that. So good
if it's above 20, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, granted, it's up at 36 now, but yeah, I mean, listen, the trend is up, and the risk is higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Toast, TOST, the point of sale software for restaurants, right? One of those crazy growth ones that fell like 80% or something, and has had a really, really good time the past 3-4 months, right? So I'd be curious to hear your take on this.
It's kind of similar to CPNG. It's kind of similar to
all
CPNG.
of them. They all look like this, James.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of them that look like this. I mean, these things, it's a good lesson. Like when these things get clobbered, like to quote Louise Yamada, who's going to be on our show this week, right? When is she on our show?
What's today? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Nice. So Louise Yamada, we could talk about this tomorrow if you'd like. She says, the bigger the fall, the longer the time that needs to repair. Like she's always said that. Like my whole career, I've had her, JC, the bigger the drop, the longer the need for the repair. like financials after the great financial crisis, like technology when that bubble burst. Like, look how long it took for these things to fix themselves. And this is kind of similar in a more micro fashion. Listen, if we're above these former highs, like, I'm not going to fight you on it. I think it might probably be messier than this. If I had to bet, and I don't have to bet, but I'm choosing not to place a bet here, and the reason is because my suspicion is it's gonna need a little bit more time.
Yep. Let's do UAL. We'll wrap it up here. They report earnings, I want to say tomorrow. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I want to say it's tomorrow afternoon. Either way, if you're trading UAL, you need to know that. Just for context here, Delta Airlines reported last week, and the stock has yet to get back to where it reported. The market did not like that report. So let's see what UAL says when they go this week.
Yeah, again, nice little base that it's been building here. That COVID collapse, as you saw, great example. Bigger the drop, the longer the time it needs to repair, and that's what you're seeing here. That's what this looks like. And usually this time is pretty messy, as you could see here. But listen, if you got to be in airlines, nobody has to be. But if you have to be, you want to be in United. If it's above 54, it's pretty clean to 64. You got 10 points. It's 18-20% there. Ultimately, I think we could get to 77. It'll fill that gap, that breakaway gap in COVID that nobody was ever going to fly again sort of behavior by investors. That's probably going to be a lot of trouble here. That's 77. So listen, it's messy. If you got to be in it, only above 54, below 54, you can't touch this thing.
And where are we at now?
We are at 54.30 today, breaking out above that 54 level.
All right. Keep an eye on this thing when it reports. All right, guys, that'll be a good place for us to wrap it up here. As always, we'll be back on Thursday, 1:00 Eastern time, myself and Patrick. So stay tuned for that. As always, if you want to cut the line, we do check our email. I make a list of all the people that email us with requests, and I try to get to all those first. So it's questions at stockmarketmedia.com. I think I got to all the emails that we got on today's show. As always, smash the like, hit that thumbs up. It sounds silly, but the reason I say that is because it really does help us in the eyes of YouTube. So thank you for doing that. And that's it. JC, talk to you later. Have a good one, everyone.
Do I get a chart?
Oh God, here we go. Acushnet.
Acushnet. This is the company that owns Titleist.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Listen, consumer discretionary has been the best performing sector of this entire bull market on an equally weighted basis, up almost 37% since the lows last June. This is an interesting one. Golf is hot. This company owns Titleist, hasn't broken out just yet. Kind of flirting with 58. 58's the big one. If we can ultimately break out above 58, I like this one long. Really, really nice base, multi-year base.
This always interests me. If this thing is breaking out and Callaway Golf is breaking down, wow. ELY, moving in opposite direction.
Yep. Really interesting name. Keep this one on the radar, guys.
What is Titleist / Acushnet doing so well that Topgolf and Callaway are doing so poorly? It's the same business.
You're asking the wrong guy.
I know.
Worst golfer.
I'm asking I'm asking rhetorically. And maybe it's on the chat knows. All right, everyone. That's a wrap. See you guys tomorrow morning for the morning show. Have a good rest of your day.
Adios.